Gauteng residents are still waiting for Premier Panyaza Lesufi to announce his executive council. Lesufi was due to reveal his cabinet last night, but it was postponed at the 11th hour due to an impasse in talks between the ANC and Democratic Alliance. The announcement is now expected tonight. The ANC Provincial Executive Committee says that talks with the Democratic Alliance in Gauteng have deadlocked. The two largest parties in the province have been struggling to reach consensus on the allocation of MEC positions. This has prompted the ANC to engage with other political parties, including the Economic Freedom Fighters as well as the MK Party. Now, as stated, the Gauteng ANC and Democratic Alliance have gone back to the negotiating table this after Premier Panyaza Lesufi postponed his provincial executive announcement last night. The ANC in the province revealed that talks had deadlocked with the party, which had forced them to put together a provincial cabinet, excluding the DA. However, the national leadership of the ANC urged the provincial executive to engage the DA further before announcing. We're now joined by the ANC's Gauteng spokesperson, Lesego Makhubela. Good afternoon, Lesego. Thank you very much for joining us on The Full View. So we understand you've been locked in talks today with the Democratic Alliance. What has come out, or what can you share this hour pertaining to those talks?
Afternoon, Fundo, and afternoon to your viewers. I think there are sections of society, including some in the media, that have started to believe that perhaps we are in a coalition with the Democratic Alliance. And I think the African National Congress has been very much emphatic on that we're not in a coalition. We're in talks about the government of provincial unity. And this confusion is not only found in some sections of the media and society, but it's also found in the Democratic Alliance itself, which believes that we are welded to them through a coalition, which is not. You would know, Mfundo, that the National Executive Committee would have said in a meeting, looking at the results in the aftermath of the elections, and said that in the experience of what was happening in the metros, in the chaotic nature of the municipalities where we're in coalition, it would be best that we form government of national unity, and in provinces such as KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, that we form a government of provincial unity. And that is why we invited all parties. The statement of intent, which is now in the public domain, was authored by the African National Congress. And it would seem that there were some ambiguous parts that the DA deliberately decided that they did not understand. And they wanted to clarify us about our own document, which we authored. And hence, with the announcement of the president, that clarity continues to be given. And that's why we wanted to actually, yesterday, at the benefit of the Democratic Alliance, the people of Gauteng, we've had to hold the announcements and sit in last-minute negotiations so that we do not keep the people of Gauteng in suspense.
Before we get to what has come out of those talks today, because we do believe you've been locked in those talks, you say that the media are among those that have misunderstood whether you guys are in a coalition or government of provincial unity. But surely all journalists have known that from the government of national unity stems the government of provincial unity. I don't think there's been confusion, at least on the part of journalists on that matter. They know that this is a co-governing structure with more than just the Democratic Alliance. Are you perhaps accusing them alone of being confused and labeling this co-governance some sort of a coalition?
Hence, I'm saying that certain sections of the media, because they are compelling us to be welded together with the Democratic Alliance in a coalition, without fully comprehending what that statement of intent seeks to achieve. And hence, the chief whip of the majority party in parliament came to also clarify this, because also he was part of the negotiators. Yesterday, we came out in clarifying this. I made that point, Mfundo, because primarily, as you will know, the sitting of the Gauteng provincial legislature took less than 45 minutes. The premier was elected unopposed. The speaker of the Gauteng provincial legislature was elected unopposed by all parties. Many of the parties represented, actually a vast majority of parties represented in the Gauteng provincial legislature, including some that had at the time not signed the the GNU statement of intent, had come to approach us. You would know that even when we had 50+1 in Gauteng, for instance, we had a very good working relationship with the IFP. We had appointed the chairperson of IFP in Gauteng as the chairperson of one of the most important committees. We had also appointed the chairperson of the ACDP in one of the most important committees to hold the executive to account. So we've had a good relationship, even when we're at 50+1.
But what is the, pardon me for interjecting there, just in the interest of time, Lesego, pardon me, what is the status now? Because yesterday you postponed the announcement of the executive and it was indicated to the media that you would be engaging the Democratic Alliance today a bit further. What has come out of those talks?
Our postponement is not made out of the desire to keep our people in suspense, and also to keep our people in various sectors, in the business sector and all sectors represented in Gauteng in suspense. It was done in the proper interpretation of what the electorate has said to us, that in what you do, you must build this government of provincial unity in full consultation with everybody. At last minute, there was an aim to bully us, and there was further an aim to actually hold that particular thing. And in respect of what the electorate has said to us, we felt that we should be able to hold that press conference and engage those that would have had concerns. And I think that we're about to finalize and announce to the people of Gauteng and release and relieve them from the suspense they find themselves, and from the position which they find themselves of really a suspense which is unattainable. If it was according to the ANC and if it was according to the Premier, he would have announced the day after he was elected unopposed in the Gauteng provincial legislature.
Can you confirm? Can you confirm that the announcement will be made tonight?
I can confirm that we would have wanted to make the announcement as far as yesterday and as early as an hour ago.
So
and
tonight,
once we iron out all the nitty-gritties that concerns this government of provincial unity, we will be able to make such announcements.
All right. So you're not willing to state if indeed the announcement will be tonight, meaning you guys are still locked in talk, you haven't found each other as yet?
I am not willing to respond and create further suspense and speculation. We are more than prepared immediately after we are done with tying loose ends in terms of this government of provincial unity, able to definitely say that the Premier will be able to announce at this particular hour, on this day, at this time. And if we had done that by now, we would have told you that in the next hour or in a particular hour we would have done that. So now we are not in a position to do so.
All right.
But as ANC, we are ready to announce the capable men and women who need to take this province forward.
Lesego, you've touched on bullying. This is something that we heard even yesterday at the press conference, where Lebogang Maile stated that you would not, as the African National Congress, be bullied by the Democratic Alliance. But there are those that are accusing you of not appreciating that receiving 34% of the votes cannot warrant perhaps retaining 70% of the executive posts. Because from what we heard Solim Simang stating is that they had indicated that they were fine to take 3 posts, and then if you were to keep the 7, it's provided that you were going to share this with other members of the government of provincial unity.
We are not willing to behave like the Pharisees and cry tears that are meant for the camera and mislead people in public and in the boardrooms to say something else. We respect all parties. Our interpretation of the electoral outcome is that we speak to everybody, including parties that have one vote, in a situation which we find ourselves in, placed by the electorate. There is no junior partners of a government of provincial unity. Whether we receive the popular vote, which we have, and others have 20 seats and others have 3 seats or 2 seats. We treated our discussions with all parties, because we are the ones who invited them, with the necessary respect, without undermining any party because of the number of seats that it has. It will be quite unfortunate that people should then believe that we should then shun parties that have 1 seat and only speak to parties that will make us form a government. And I want to overstate this for the benefit of yourselves as well as your viewers. The Premier of Gauteng and the Speaker of Gauteng were elected unopposed by the parties represented in the Gauteng provincial legislature, not through voting between the African National Congress and the Democratic Alliance. And therefore, that bullying, which seeks to suggest that we should not listen to other parties on the basis of the number of seats that they have, that is the arrogance that the electorate has been telling us about, and we have taken a decision to listen. And at this time, we'd rather err on the side of caution.
All right, Lesego, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That's the spokesperson of the African National Congress in the province here of Gauteng, Lesego Makhubela.